The latest installment in the Saw franchise, 2023 Saw X, is finally available in theaters, and it's said to be set between the first and second Saw films, which finally gave me an excuse to watch the original. As far as the plot goes, I don't want to give away too much for those who haven't seen it, but essentially you have two guys who wake up in a creepy, disgusting bathroom with their ankles shackled, vague yet ominous clues laid around on how to get out, and a timer counting down to their impending doom. And as far as the cast goes, I'm only going to mention the two main actors to avoid spoilers. And those two main actors are Leigh Whannell and Cary Elwes playing Adam and Lawrence. But getting into my review, I will be structuring it like usual, starting with the positives, then the negatives, then ending the review with my ranking. So without further ado, let's get into my review for 2004's Saw. Getting into the positives, the first one that stands out is the writing. As far as the writing for the story goes, the film was full of twists and turns. And for a film that came out in 2004, I'm surprised at how much actually surprised me. They threw curveballs I didn't see coming, even when I maybe should have. But in this case, it really only heightened my experience, and I think that was due to great attention to detail. Another positive is going to be the performances from the cast. All the supporting actors gave solid performances. The actor playing the film's antagonist gave us a great performance. But the actors we definitely see the most from are the two main actors I mentioned before. And I think Leigh Whannell and Cary Elwes did fantastic in their respective roles. They did great with the dialogue and any ad-libbing they may have done throughout, but they also gave great performances just through their body language. There's a lot between the two I felt was said without actually having to say it, and I think that's a sign of a pretty good actor. But the next positive on my list is going to be the set design, specifically the set of the bathroom. This set is incredibly elaborate, kind of what you would call an escape room. In fact, I think this movie may have inspired the idea of an escape room. So with that, there's many details that can be overlooked. But what also helps those details not stick out and be as obvious throughout the film is the cinematography, which is my next positive. Like I was kind of saying, the cinematography definitely helps make certain details seem insignificant in the moment, just to bring certain ones back later. There's things I saw happen early on that I didn't think much of that they brought back later on. And I think had the cinematography not been up to par, some of those things might have been a little more obvious than they wanted it to be. In my opinion, I think this film did a lot right, but no film can be too perfect. So getting into my negatives, I really only have a couple, but the first one is going to be the film's pacing. I felt that the first half of the film dragged a little bit, especially when it came to showing flashbacks. Yes, there are flashbacks in the film. I hate to spoil that, but I kind of have to make this point. Some of those flashbacks really did make that first half drag, especially when you just wanted to see the two main characters in the bathroom trying to get out, trying to figure out what's going on. But at the end of the day, it was still providing a narrative that I thought was pretty interesting overall. And to add to that, I do think the pacing got better as the film progressed. But the second and final negative also has to do with the flashbacks, and that's that at about the middle point of the film, there was a particular flashback from the perspective of a particular character. But then the film began following another character, and I wasn't sure where it took place in the continuity. I will say it eventually became clear where it took place on the timeline, but I will say the transition could have been handled better. But that's all I have for the positives and negatives, so with all that out of the way, let's get into my ranking. Since this film is streaming / available to buy or rent and isn't a new release, I'll be ranking it under the at-home film ranking system. So as far as my ranking of 2004 Saw goes, I'm going to go ahead and give the film a stream it. Now a little explanation for that ranking there. I would personally give the film a rent it or maybe even a buy it. I had a lot of fun with it and would definitely consider rewatching it and definitely consider watching the other Saw films. But for some people out there, the gore and horror is not going to be for them, and that's completely understandable. But for those who think they can stomach it, I would definitely recommend checking this film out if you haven't already. It's currently available on Peacock, which is where I watched it. Looks like a lot of the other films are on there as well if you want to go check those out. But yeah, now I'm ready for Saw X. But those are just my thoughts on 2004 Saw, and I'd love to see yours down in the comments below. Have you seen the film? What did you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Are you in the middle? Have you not seen it? Are you planning on watching it anytime soon? Why or why not? And are you planning on checking out Saw X? I'd love to see that down in the comments below as well. Really, any comments you have for me, I would love to hear from you. I respond to as much as I can. But do me a favor and leave a thumb up on this video, click subscribe to play a game, and ring the bell before time runs out.